Hi there. I'm glad you're here joining me. I want to share with you today the 3 steps to living your most authentic and joyful life. They are the 3 steps that I have taken recently, and they have been monumental in changing the trajectory of my life. And I'm really excited to share them with you. So I hope that you will enjoy this video. A little bit about my backstory. I'm Sally. I started this Act to Joy, which Act to Joy has a couple of meanings for me. The first one being Act to, meaning taking action to be joyful. And then the other part of that is my Act to, as I am nearing retirement age. Actually, I'm there almost this coming year. And I have spent my life doing what others expected of me. I've always been, quote, the good girl, went to college, I got married, I had a career, and then the needs of my family overtook that. And so it sort of dissipated, and I sort of lost myself in a lot of different things because I was outwardly focused. There are expectations of family and of marriage and of society and even the media of what you should do and who you should be and what all life is about. And I hit a wall, a really dark place in during the COVID time, because I found myself alone. The kids were gone, even my little dogs were gone, and my husband was, quote, an essential worker. So he wasn't in the house, he was off at work. And there I was in front of my computer working at a job that honestly at the time I absolutely really hated and was desperately feeling boxed in and trapped. And so I was searching out other opportunities online, and I was getting attracted by the shiny, because that's who I have been for most of my life, as someone who looked to the outside to find the answers instead of going deep and within to find them. So I found myself reaching out. I made a lot of bad decisions, didn't follow through with a lot of things, disappointed myself. And when I didn't do things perfectly, no one was any meaner to myself than I was. That little chatterbox in my head was just abusing the crap out of me. And I was really depressed and frustrated, and honestly, chasing the shiny had gotten me into some debt as well, and personal debt. And I was embarrassed, and I was shutting down. Let's put it that way. And simultaneously, I was reading a book by Bronnie, Ware, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the number one regret was people regretted not having the courage to live the life they wanted to live, but instead were living the life that others expected of them. And I just kind of went, ouch. That's me. That's my life. That's my current trajectory. And I was really sad and frustrated and angry at other people. You tend to play victim. And that's when I started to think about how other people, the outside world, had taken me to this bad place. So my solution in my head was, I'm going to go on an inner journey instead. I am done with looking for answers on the outside of me. I'm going to start looking on the inside, and I'm going to start doing my own inside intuitive search for the right answers. And the first thing I came up with is step number 1. And that is, and I'm going to paraphrase Wayne Dyer poorly, with this, and it's changing your perspective. And he said something like this: when you change the way you think about your world changes. Now think about that for a second. When you change the way you think about your world absolutely will change. And then something else that I found was Byron Katie. And she was also a very depressed, unhappy person who started doing this inquiry, her own inquiry. She came up with these 4 questions. And the first question is it true? So for me, starting with the first question, I hate my job. Is it true I hate my job? Okay, well, mostly it is true. It's not the job I wanted. I thought it had enough components in it to keep my mind active, and people needed me and were relying on me, and I was interacting with people when I wasn't in COVID, and I like interacting and helping people. That's sort of what I like to do. And so it played on some of my strengths. It also played on some of my weaknesses. But is it true that I hate my job? I guess it wasn't true. Her second question is it really true? So I think I kind of answered that. It's mostly true, but is it really true? Is it a fact? Is it everything? Is it 100% true? No, it wasn't. And then the third question of inquiry is, how do you feel when you think that thought? So when I think that thought of hating my job, it's like, ugh, okay, I really resent my husband who is getting ready to retire is the reason I had to take this job. And then I was feeling, how did I get in this position? Like, because I was outwardly focused doing other things, I wasn't myself. I really, how did I get here? This isn't what I wanted to be doing. So I had some anger, I had some sadness, I had some depression from where I was sitting in front of this computer working by myself in this house, all by myself. Yeah, and it was a poor me, boo, boo, boo. And that was where I was. I was playing victim. So that was a whole bucket full of yuckiness that I had taken myself to. But then the fourth question is, who would you be without that thought? Okay. I don't hate my job. What if I flipped it and said I like my job? I like the people I work with. The work I'm doing is meaningful. It's helpful. It's of benefit. And I'm actually pretty good at it. So thinking about it that way, and it is providing insurance for my husband, and I love my husband, and I love our family. And yeah, I am glad I feel good about contributing to our family in this way. So that's Byron Katie's solution. And so that's the first step. When you change the way you think about the world, your world changes. Now on to step number 2, which this is more of a practice, and that is the practice of gratitude. And I know a lot of people talk about it, and you hear a lot about gratitude, keeping a gratitude journal, but I want to tell you, in all sincerity, it absolutely changed me, because it changed my vibration. And what I want you to do is, what I did was I get up every morning and write 5 things that I'm grateful for. And not just not like the rote prayer of, oh, thank you for my family, thank you for my mom and dad, and, just this house and blah, 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 blah. But really being intentional and putting your heart into what you're grateful for in those 5 things. So for instance, okay, I can say, yes, I'm grateful for my home. And I am grateful for my home. But what about my home am I grateful for? And one of the things I'm most grateful for is that I am a person who loves the water. I love being in the water. That is my happy place. And seeing water is my happy place. So where I live, my neighborhood, I pull out of my neighborhood, and as I'm waiting to turn onto the busier road from my neighborhood, I am looking at a lake. Every day I get to see a lake. And every morning that I pull out, most mornings, I get to look at a sunrise. And it's beautiful. And it brings me peace. And if I intentionally focus on that, it's huge. And I have to tell you, from doing this gratitude journal day in, day out, it absolutely has changed my vibration and my mood. Even just talking about it, I can feel that I'm like more excited about it. And if you take that, you can take that with you. So every day you're just building that muscle of gratitude. And it absolutely can change how you feel. It can change your stress level, the anxiety. It all is just a huge game changer. And then number 3 is to have faith in action. I've been reading a book called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. I want to say Scovel Shinn, but it's not. It's Florence Scovel Shinn, and the book is The Game of Life. And in the book, she talks about God, just to have fearless faith. And that's how you win the game. One of the ways to win the game of life is to show fearless faith. And the way to show fearless faith is to put it into action in a demonstration. And she's her book is older. It was written in the 20s, so her examples are a little bit antiquated. One woman had come to her and was needing money for Christmas. She had had such a nice Christmas the year before, but this year she had no money and she didn't know where it was going to come from. And so Florence, she did a treatment, is what she called it. She was a metaphysician. She gave a treatment, prayer, connecting with the universe, with God, and asking for abundance for this woman for her Christmas. And she told the woman to make a demonstration. So the woman went out and bought fancy ribbons and paper, and sure enough, the money came in time to buy the gifts and wrap them in the beautiful paper and wrappings that she had purchased for her Christmas. But I also have a minister who shared a story of why something didn't work without a demonstration, and that is, he shared a story about a community that it hadn't rained, the crops were failing, they really needed it to rain. So the church decided to hold a vigil, an overnight, all-night vigil. So people made food and they got together, sang songs, they had prayer time, they did all these things, but then it didn't rain. They had taken all that action, and then they were asking, well, why didn't it rain? And in truth, they had not demonstrated their faith, because they may have brought a potluck dish, but they forgot to bring their umbrellas. So just recently, I had the opportunity to take what I learned from Florence and put it into a faith in action of my own. I was down in Florida. We moved my parents down there earlier this fall. And my father was shortly thereafter diagnosed with cancer. So he was very ill. My mother was the reason my parents had to give up their lake home, was because my mother came down with Parkinson's and needed more physical medical attention than what she could get down in their rather remote location of their lake house. And so we had moved them. Now we were moving them down to Florida. Just got them there, and Hurricane Milton happened. And this home that my sister, they lived with my sister, or they are living with my sister, and this is a sort of winter winter bird home down in Florida, and a lot of people who winter in Florida live in modular homes. So they were living in Central Florida. I was there with them because I was helping with my parents, and a modular home, Central Florida, no basement. It's modular, not you see those images on the news all the time of what happens to modular homes in hurricanes. It's really bad. But there we were, and the storm of the century is on its way. And I just decided, you know what? Faith in action. So I prayed. I had other people pray for us as well, that things would go well. And then as my demonstration, I decided to book an Airbnb for the next in a couple of weeks, also in that same location, for my family to come and visit with my father, who really was on a bad. He was on it. My father did pass, but this was before he passed, and so I decided, okay, this is my demonstration. So I booked the Airbnb, knowing that this storm could totally devastate not only where I was living, but where the Airbnb was. But I went ahead and booked it in good faith. Storm came. We never even lost electricity. There was absolutely no damage to the home at all. There were people around us, unfortunately, that did experience damage, but we were truly blessed, and I feel like faith kept us safe. The universe had our back because of our faith. And in fact, later on, after that experience, I was reading another book by Michael Singer, who has this book called The Surrender Experiment. He doesn't even ask the universe for guidance. He just puts it out there, like he just listens to the universe. He just listens for that internal guidance. And I'm like, gosh, that's where I want to get to. Is I don't even want to have to tell the universe. I just want to commune with the universe and have it guide me. You know, back in the day, I love, my hero is Harriet Tubman. And she was channeled into that interconnection with the universe, with God. And it kept her safe. She never was caught. She moved when the Spirit told her to move. She stopped when the Spirit told her to stop. And she did exactly what the universe told her to do. So those are the 3 steps. The first one is when you change the way you think about the world, your world changes. The second is to be grateful, to keep a gratitude journal, to really intentionally think about, be grateful. And that will absolutely increase your vibration. And then the third thing is to be faith in action, to have action and faith. And that will absolutely building that connection with God, with life force, with the universe. That too will absolutely open you up to really understanding what your authentic self wants to share with you. So I hope that this video served you. I'm Sally. I hope you join me again on my joyful journey as an empty nester here on Act 2 Joy. If you liked what you saw today, subscribe below. I hope to link the resources that I mentioned in the video below. And until then, enjoy life, live authentically and with joy. And I bless you and wish you well. Bye-bye for now.